Today, we are jumping into something that sounds, well, pretty out there. We're talking about a blend of 19th century American faith and ancient Jewish mysticism. Yep, you heard that right. It's called Mormon Kabbalah, and we're going to break down what it's all about. So let's just get right to it. The big question. What on earth is Mormon Kabbalah? I mean, it sounds like two completely different worlds smashing together, right? And, in a lot of ways, that's exactly what it is. You've got these two major spiritual traditions that you'd think have absolutely zero overlap. But here's the thing. This isn't some dusty academic thought experiment. Nope. It's the actual living core belief of a real Latter-day Saint community. For them, it's all about one thing, using these ideas to build a deep, universal connection with everyone. Okay, so to really get this, we've got to talk about the community itself, because this is a very different kind of Mormonism. And look at this is straight from their own writings. Some might call us Latter-day Saint Universalists, because we welcome all. Wow, I mean, that tells you so much right off the bat. They're basically saying, hey, everyone is welcome here. It's about connection, not drawing lines in the sand.
So their official name is the Church of Jesus Christ in Christian Fellowship. And that name is really deliberate, It connects them back to the original movement started by Joseph Smith Jr. back in 1830. But, and this is a big but, they see themselves as their own thing, kind of like a unique branch on the family tree, following their own path.
All right, this brings us to the really fascinating part. How do you unite Kabbalah and Christ? Where did this idea even come from? Well, for them, it wasn't something a committee dreamed up. It was a message from God.
Yeah, check this out. In March 2018, they received a divine instruction: unite my people in Kabbalah. That's it. That one sentence became their entire mission. It changed everything. Now, to understand what Kabbalah means to them, we need to bring in another really powerful concept.
And that concept is Ubuntu. You've probably heard this word before, right? It's this beautiful idea from Southern Africa. It basically means, I am because we are. It's this belief in a universal bond that connects every single one of us.
And boom, that's the key. This is where it all comes together. For this faith, Kabbalah isn't some esoteric, mystical thing to just study. No way. It's the toolkit. It's the practical, step-by-step guide for achieving Ubuntu. Kabbalah is the how, and a connected, compassionate humanity is the why.
So how does this radical idea show up in their actual beliefs about God? Well, we've got to look at their sacred texts, which they call the plates of brass. And the way God is described in there, it's really specific, and it's not what you might expect.
For starters, they don't just use one name for God. Their scriptures are full of different Hebrew names. You'll see YHVH, Elohim, El Elyon, Ha Elohim, and these aren't just, synonyms. Each name points to a totally different side of God's personality, a different attribute.
And this next one is a really big deal. Take a look at Ha Elohim. The im at the end of a Hebrew word makes it plural, so it literally means the gods. And they're very clear about this. It can mean the Godhead, sure, but it also explicitly refers to both the masculine and feminine aspects of God. That's huge. It puts a divine feminine right at the center of their theology.
So you can see how these names are used for different jobs, essentially. Yahweh, for example, that's the name you see when God is making a sacred promise, a covenant. Elohim shows up when we're talking about creation, raw power, and divine judgment. And then you have El Elyon, the Most High God. That's all about supreme sovereignty, the ultimate authority.
Okay, so we've got this inclusive community, this idea of Kabbalah as a tool, a God with masculine and feminine sides. Where is all this heading? What's the end game? Well, it's all about building Zion. And Zion is this idea of a perfect, harmonious society, which is a really central concept in Mormonism. And here's where they connect it all back, plain as day. In their own glossary, they define Zion with that exact phrase from Ubuntu, I am because we are. It's not a metaphor. For them, Zion is Ubuntu. The perfect community is one built on that universal connection. They're the same thing.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that their whole spiritual journey is aimed at something much bigger than just saving yourself. It's not about individual salvation. It's about building a community where everyone's existence, everyone's worth is affirmed and strengthened by the group.
And that really leaves us with a pretty powerful question to chew on, doesn't it? How does a whole community change when its fundamental truth isn't I think, therefore I am, but I am because we are? It's a total paradigm shift. And that's the radical idea right at the heart of Mormon Kabbalah.